Samsung is working on a major visual refresh with its upcoming One UI 8.5 update, and it looks like the company is drawing heavy inspiration from Apple's iOS 26, while Samsung has always tried to keep its own style. The similarities this time are harder to miss. The new update seems to mix Samsung's past ideas with Apple's new liquid glass look, creating something both familiar and different. One of the biggest changes is the introduction of 3D app icons on the home screen. For years, Samsung has relied on flat icons across One UI, but leaks show that the next version may bring a more layered design. Well-known tipster Ice Universe recently shared screenshots comparing the current flat icons with the new 3D ones. These icons have shadows behind them, which makes them look like they are floating above the background. This change applies not only to Samsung's own apps, but also to popular third-party apps like YouTube and the Google Play Store. The result is a look that feels more textured and lively. Very different from the flat style people have been using for years, the update isn't just about icons. Earlier leaks have already shown that One UI 8.5 will bring floating elements, stronger shadow effects, and new gradient styles throughout the interface. Clearly, Samsung is trying to add depth and light effects to give its software a modern and stylish appearance. Many people feel this strongly resembles Apple's liquid glass approach, where everything feels polished, layered, and shiny. What's interesting is that this isn't the first time Samsung has tried this style. If you go back to older Galaxy phones, like the Galaxy S6 with TouchWiz, you'll notice that icons also had a 3D effect with visible shadows. In some ways, One UI 8.5 feels like a throwback to that era, but with a modern twist. Samsung seems to be mixing nostalgia with today's design trends, taking inspiration from Apple while also nodding to its own history. But this brings up an important question. Will these visual upgrades affect performance and battery life? Some early testers of the leaked One UI 8.5 builds have noticed that rendering these new 3D effects requires more power from the hardware. This can lead to higher energy consumption and shorter battery life. Of course, the software is still in development, so Samsung may optimize it before the final release. Still, it raises the concern that while the new visuals may look beautiful, they could come at the cost of efficiency. Another point worth mentioning is whether users will actually like this change. Flat icons became popular because they looked clean, simple, and modern. Some people may feel that going back to 3D looks outdated or unnecessary. Apple's liquid glass design has already received mixed reviews, and Samsung could face similar criticism. Some fans will love the richer, more detailed look, while others might prefer the old minimalism. If we compare this to the wider smartphone industry, Google has taken a very different approach. With Android 16, Google's Material 3 expressive design focuses on personalization, clean layouts, and dynamic colors without relying on shadows or 3D effects. This makes Google's design language feel simple and customizable, while Apple and Samsung are both leaning toward more depth and visual flair. At the end of the day, it may just come down to user preference. Some people enjoy when their phone feels visually fresh and exciting, while others just want a simple and efficient experience. The new 3D icons could make the Galaxy home screen feel more lively for some, but for others, it might feel crowded or distracting. The real challenge for Samsung will be to balance beauty with practicality, making sure the software looks appealing without slowing down the phone or draining the battery too quickly. This also shows how Apple and Samsung continue to influence each other. For years, both companies have borrowed ideas back and forth, and One UI 8.5 looks like the latest example. Whether the new 3D icons and floating elements will become a long-term part of Samsung's software, or just a short experiment, remains to be seen. What is clear is that One UI 8.5 will not be a small update. With redesigned icons, new visual effects, shadows, and gradients, Samsung is signaling a bold shift in style. For users who love a fresh look, this is exciting. But for those who value efficiency and simplicity, it might not be as welcome. In the end, the success of One UI 8.5 will depend on Samsung's ability to optimize it. If the company can deliver the new visuals while keeping performance smooth and battery life strong, it could be one of the most impressive updates in years. But if the update slows things down or drains too much power, many people will question if this design shift was worth it.